Welcome to Tania's Good Vibes podcast, where we talk about everything and anything that makes us feel good. We exude positivity, we party through love and light, and we talk about all the blessings through the tough parts of our personal journeys. All right, so welcome to Tania's Good Vibes podcast, where we explore everything and anything that makes us feel good. We party through love and light, and we find the blessings through the tough parts of our personal journey, period. So today is a very special day because it's actually my first podcast. So super excited. And what better way to start it than have my good friend Steven Porto come through with his good vibes. And just a little bit of background, I met Steve a few years ago. We worked together and I had the privilege of watching him go through a major spiritual awakening. And now he just finished completing his Reiki 1 course. Is it Reiki 1 course? And is already ready for his next one. So he's on a roll, guys. So he's here today to share his knowledge and experiences with us. So welcome, Steve. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. And I'd like to know, how are you coping with this quarantine life?
Well, let me first say that speaking of divine timing and all of that stuff, I just had a major deja vu. We had this conversation already and it just struck me right now. Yeah. When you were doing the intro, I was like, wait a minute, I've heard this before and you haven't shared any of this with me. So
oh my God.
It's weird. Yeah, that's weird, huh?
That's
Anyways,
so interesting.
In another dimension, but that's another conversation, I think. Quarantine has been interesting for me. Initially, I kind of took it with a grain of salt. I was like, this is not going to last. This is just for today. And then when it became more of a reality, I made sure to take advantage of it. It's tough because obviously the world is crazy and there's a ton of stuff going on, but I don't think that we're going to have a time like this where we're able to reflect and work on ourselves probably ever again in our lives. So I'm trying to make the most of it.
Right. And you were doing your Reiki 1 during all of this. So how did it affect you in the way you learned it?
It was actually kind of, again, divine timing. So I started Reiki. The first session was the beginning of March. And so we started out and COVID really wasn't a thing just yet. There was talks, but nothing huge. And then my third week in, it was canceled. Well, not canceled. She just made it online instead of in person. So that the course took a different trajectory, but it was the most healing experience I think we could have ever had hoped for because we needed it right there and then, we're not used to being quarantined and the madness of the world that was going on. So it was a really healing experience. Reiki 1 really explores healing yourself above everything else because you can't really heal others until you fix yourself. So I really appreciated going through that while we were having to go through the crisis.
Right.
Yeah.
And let's backtrack a little bit because, a lot of people don't know what Reiki actually is. They hear about it. Yeah. They might think it's some hippy dippy thing, but I'd like to know what it actually means and how you use it to help people.
Reiki is energy healing. So essentially the individual, so let's say I'm doing Reiki on you. I act as a vessel between the universe and yourself. The energy that we're using is not mine. I am purely a vessel connected to source energy, healing you and your chakras.
Cool. And do you is it kind of, I've had one session before where, you're lying down and this person is, I had to try it to actually believe what it was. Cause you did tell me I kept asking you what it was and you're you need to experience it first before actually knowing what it was. And I went in and I laid down and this woman, she was a sweetheart. And she, put her hand, I don't know. It was just so weird. It was surreal. Yeah. I laid down, she made me do a couple of breathing exercises. And then, I kind of went into a meditative state and she was just going around my body and I don't even know what she was doing with her hands, but I went into kind of a trance and she was putting her hands on me. And I just felt so relaxed and it kind of went like, it took like 5 minutes and it was over, but it was actually an hour session. And I
Yeah.
felt so good after, and I couldn't understand what was happening when it was happening. So can you maybe, kind of the other side of it, because all I know is I'm lying down and this girl's doing like hand movements.
Right, right, right.
But maybe can you go a little bit deeper in that, and what happens after?
Yeah, so I can walk you through a little bit like what the journey looks like for the practitioner. And so maybe it could shed a little bit more light on what it does for the individual. So the practitioner will come in and sort of ground themselves. So the energy that they're channeling or they're calling for comes from both the earth and space, the universe, source energy, I like to call it.
Mm.
So I start off with like a quick meditation, grounding myself, and I'll picture roots kind of attaching to my ankles and the energy of the earth going through my body, up my legs, up my hips, into my stomach, into my heart. And so there'll be I like to picture it like a green, earthy energy in my heart. At the
Wow.
same time, during that meditation, I'll picture myself breathing in source energy, this gold, beautiful kind of vibe, and that energy going through my head, into my shoulders, and in colliding with the earth energy into my heart. And once I feel that that is there, I kind of let it go into my hands. And so I'll start feeling that pulsing energy from my hand. Now, every practitioner really gets a different feeling. Some feel heat coming from their hand. I was hoping that I would feel heat. I don't. For me, it's like a pulsing vibrational energy. And
Wow.
so they will, at that point, they're ready for their client, and they will go through each of the seven chakras. And then, so like, as a practitioner, you kind of have to build intuition and sort of allow messages to come through you to see where the blocks are, where they need to do their work. Because, people have blockages because they need to go out there and work on themselves, right? So
Yeah.
let's say you have, like, when I met you, you kept on saying that you were suffering from the throat. Do you remember this conversation?
Yes, I do.
And so I told you that your throat chakra was closed, and then you kept on catching colds, or you had like sore throats, or whatever the case may be. And I told you that, there's something that you need to say to someone. And we didn't know each other that well at that point, so you didn't super confide in me. But then, like, later on, you did what you had to do. You did the work. You confronted a person, and you stopped getting sick. So those kind of things help your cause, right? So
I remember that
yeah.
like vividly, because we were in a meeting and I was giving not a presentation, but I was just expressing myself, and I kept getting like a tickle in my throat, and I was like, and you were just observing me. Again, we didn't know each other that well. And you were like, I have something to tell you, but you might think it's kind of weird, but I think your throat chakra is blocked. And I'm like, throat chakra, what does that mean? And you're like, I think you need to tell somebody, something, and it's just until you say it, it won't go away.
Yeah.
And so I confessed to you that I was going through like a really bad like breakup, and so I said what I had to say. I broke up with that person, which was really hard, but
Yeah.
instantly, like, I felt my throat just
So that's it.
was free. And I came back to you and I'm like, what else do you know? Tell me more about chakra.
That was like the beginning of your thing. But
Yeah.
so illnesses build, or diseases build, because of the shit that we keep inside of us and the work that we don't do.
Yeah.
So like people like with like closed throat chakras will develop sore throats or be susceptible to like laryngitis, or like a lot of them have thyroid issues. That's
My
all the
mother
throat chakra.
does. Yeah.
So like she like kind of has that pent up energy that she doesn't express herself properly.
Mm-hmm.
People who have issues with like self-esteem, or they don't feel like they know who they are, that's like their root chakra, and that can bring like issues of like groundedness, or like issues in the like anal area. Unfortunately, like it really depends on like,
Oh,
it really depends on the individual, right? So
yeah.
Reiki is a tool that helps relieve the blockages and gives you that energy, that pep in your step. But like ultimately, at the end of the day, working on yourself is really what you need to do in order to feel optimal. So like what I'm going to be doing, once my Reiki certifications are completely over, is have that Reiki component to like a spiritual coaching sort of
Mm-hmm.
spectrum. Because I want to help people work through their shit, as well as like use Reiki as a tool to like make them feel better in the meantime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it helps them heal, but at the same time, they still have to do a little bit of spiritual
Yeah.
homework on the side. And it's not, known very, like, we're not taught this stuff.
Nah.
So it's really eye-opening what, after you feel it and go through it, what happens to you.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, this might be a little bit of a personal question, but I always had this problem with, caring about what people think. It's more like you were saying, self-esteem issues of like, are people going to listen to me, or am I smart enough? Like having that doubt in myself and
Right.
thinking that I'm not good enough for, let's say, even making this podcast or posting that post that is less provocative on Instagram or whatever, and scared that people are going to judge me. Is that like go into what we were talking about, a connection with your chakras? Is there something
Yeah.
that I could do to unblock that? And I don't like the word block, but like free that
Yeah.
chakra so that I could be my complete and total self?
Yeah, I think so. There's like a variety of different things that could be around it. It really depends on how deep rooted the issue is, but like a big part of it is like society teaching us to feel that way. Society
Yeah.
teaches us to feel not worthy, right? So
Mm.
we build these blockages as we're growing up. Part of our conditioning is feeling not good enough. Let's face it, like when we go out there, like we're not built to like feel good about ourselves. Like if anything, we're broken down every single day.
Yeah.
So like that's how issues start to arise. Some of them also can be karmic though. So it might be something that like people need to go through to get through the next phase. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
karma stems from many past lives, and then your soul says, you know what? This is what you're gonna have to face in this lifetime to make sure that you get through it. So that's the work that you have to do. So it really depends. So if you feel like less than or not worthy, there's definitely some tools you can optimize to get through that. The first step up to anything is sort of paying attention to your thoughts. If you start really focusing on the way that you talk to yourself and changing that and being like, oh, wait, limiting belief, stop.
Yeah.
Don't even entertain it. And if you train yourself to get to that point where like you can figure it out right away that you're not being nice to yourself, it
Mm.
really changes your perspective. And when you change your perspective, you change your life. So
I
there's
actually
different
read that in the Untethered Soul. That it's
That's
a
my
great
favorite
book.
book.
Is it?
It's
I
the
love
book.
it. I just finished reading it,
Yeah.
and yeah, like it explains how powerful thoughts are, but that those negative thoughts are not actually you
It's
saying
ego.
talking.
Yeah.
It's your ego talking to
Yeah.
yourself and bringing you down. It's not you. And
Not at
people
all.
think they listen to those voices in their heads and not the feeling that they get when they're trying to make a decision, and they a lot of times make the wrong decision by listening to their ego and not going with
100%.
their gut feeling, their intuition, right?
So for anyone listening, The Untethered Soul is like the ultimate Kickstarter guide to spirituality. It's the
Mhm.
first spiritual book that I read, and it is the book that actually changed my life. So I'm glad that you got like some sort of like peace of mind with it, because it's a really good book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And actually, it talks a lot about having a low vibration.
Yeah.
And that's actually really good to what's happening today, with the whole corona. I'm not going to, give it too much thought because I don't
Yeah.
want to, bring this vibration down, but, living in fear
Yeah.
and paying attention to how we feel. But the fear is bringing all of our vibrations down,
Yeah.
and we're not able to lift ourselves up, and we live in constant fear.
Yeah. So fear is like the most low vibrational feeling that you can possibly feel. Already as humans living in like a 3D reality, like we're very dense, we're densely built, earth is heavy, like there's gravity, all of that, like spiritual beings are flying, right? So like we're like the densest kind of creatures out there. So we already have a lot of shit to work through in that respect. So fear is definitely the one thing that we should stray away from. It's like the worst thing that you could do to yourself. We're, again though, coming from a very fear-based society, right? So like
Mm-hmm.
we're shifting through that. So like we're going into the age of Aquarius, and so we're moving from an earth sign. We were the age of Capricorn for like 200 years. And so what is an earth sign? It's dense, it's heavy. We're now moving into an air sign, and that change into the age of Aquarius is next year, but we're getting glimpses of it now. And what the fuck is happening now? A huge
Yeah.
shift, right? Like look what's going on in the world. So
Okay.
and
Cool.
like we look all around us and people are waking up to spirituality and realizing like this is probably the way that I should be living my life. It's the most optimal way of living my life.
Yeah.
Um,
And
or
kind
this
of
like,
now we're kind of forced to look at ourselves because we're living with ourselves. We're confined. There's nothing around us to distract us besides, social media. But
mhm,
we I don't know about you, but I've been so like having crazy dreams,
yeah,
reading a lot more on spirituality, and just feeling weird. Like I wake up like 5, 6 times in the night. The past is coming back into my dreams, like all these things that I just kind of put aside because I thought, oh, I'm a strong woman, I can handle it.
yeah.
On to the next. It's all coming back, and I'm just kind of letting it go as it comes, and just
It's interesting, like
trying to be
past
open.
events.
Yeah. Past yeah, like it's mostly people that I feel like I have either unfinished business or had like a negative like situation happen with them, and I never really got to tell them what I think or feel. So they've been coming, and I forget about them. Like I move on with my life, but now they're coming back one by one into my dreams every single night, and I have a conversation with them, and I tell them exactly what I think and feel and how they made me feel at that time. And it's kind of like, I don't know, I'm letting go of all the
Do you think
bullshit.
that like your higher self is like trying to like get closure?
Maybe, I don't know, maybe.
It's
That's a good
interesting.
point.
If it's
Maybe
that vivid and
closure.
you can remember, like it just seems like it's a situation where you're like you need closure from these people. I don't
Yeah,
know.
maybe it's that. Maybe, yeah, like closure and just like letting go of the past, like that's gone,
Mm.
like it's
So
time to
like
move forward.
something that like really stuck with me from the untethered soul is that the only thing that matters is the present moment. The second that you think of the past, you feel angry. The second that you think of the future, you get anxiety.
You're scared, yeah, or
So like
you
all
worry.
that matters is the right here and the right now. That's all that matters. And
Hmm.
I have a hard time with keeping track on that, like, and bringing that back to my mind. Like, whatever the fuck happened doesn't matter, and whatever is about to happen, it doesn't matter. It's right here and now.
Hmm.
But we're not taught to think that way. So
So you were speaking about your higher self. So
yeah,
what exactly is your higher self, and how do you communicate with it?
there's okay. So your higher self, I think the best interpretation for people is like your soul. I think that that's the easiest way of explaining it.
Hmm.
The person, so like your soul is always with you, is always guiding you. It's that like whisper in your ear. I mean, some people think it could be their guardian angels or whatever the case may be. There's different people up there for sure, but your soul and your higher self is ultimately the one guiding you through your life and helping you make the decisions, and all of that stuff. So ways to speak to them is meditating, calming your
Mm.
mind, calling them in. It's honestly, like from experience, not an easy thing to do. I have a very busy mind.
Yeah,
So
same.
there's different ways of going about it, but like meditation is like definitely the most optimal one. There's a bunch of them on YouTube. They're guided and they'll put you in situations where like you're facing your higher self and like you're there with him or her, and it's just kind of like a fluid conversation. But like it wasn't the best way for me to do it. So I did something called quantum healing hypnotherapy, and through that I spoke to my higher self.
Wow.
Like my higher self was speaking through me, and I was listening. So that was
Wow.
yeah, that was a good experience. And I
Was
told
that with
you,
somebody else, or you did it like by yourself
no, it was with a practitioner.
with a
Yeah,
practitioner? Okay.
yeah, um, yeah. So your higher self has like the ability to like change your life, right? It's
Yeah.
the one and only that is like looking out for you and like doing all of the things for you. So
Wasn't it your higher self that decides when you do have your time on earth, like when you live in this body? They already know everything of like it's you. They know everything about what you're going to go through in your life, and they're the ones that decided to come to this earth to go through
yeah,
what you need to go through to get stronger and to learn.
yeah. Yeah, there's general themes that you have to go through in your life that you need to work through. It's stored karma. It's your soul, your higher self saying, "All right, Tanya's going down, and this is the XYZ that she these are the general themes that she needs to work through. This is her time for this, and a lot of them are probably karmic from past lives.
Mm.
And so you are going through the stuff that you are. Here's the thing though, and the cool thing is that as humans, we have free will. We have free will to make any decision that we want. We have free will to become what we want.
Mm-hmm.
And it's those limiting beliefs that we grew up with, and the way that our brains are structured, in that you don't feel that way. You don't think that you can. But in actuality, you can be and do whatever you want within reason, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, but I have a question. When you meditate and
Yeah.
when you want to speak to your higher self, like I've meditated before and I went into like a really relaxed state, and I felt like, I did that collective meditation like live on Instagram, which was amazing. And I felt like I had this really strong energy around me, and I was holding everybody's hand and no one was in the
No,
room. It was just so beautiful.
that's insane. Yeah.
Yeah, I literally cried right after.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful, but like maybe I'm trying too hard, and maybe I'm just like not looking at the little signs that are happening around me. I keep thinking that like my higher self is going to come and talk to me and tell me exactly everything and what, and maybe I'm just overthinking it too much. Or maybe like, how do you know that you're communicating with your higher self? How do you know when you're meditating, your higher self is going to come?
I think that the best way to interpret your higher self is your intuition, to trust your intuition, to calm your mind
Mm.
and to calm your body, and to have that space and time where that gut feeling just comes in, and that's your higher self speaking. Now, if you want more of like a conversation, in my opinion, just because it doesn't happen easy for me, like there's a lot more training involved with that, right?
Yeah.
Like last night I did a meditation where as I was falling asleep, I pictured myself in a beautiful surrounding area, whatever like makes you feel like calm and safe and supported. And I was sitting in a chair waiting to speak to my higher self. And so there's like people talking on Instagram saying like this is the most optimal way to do it, and like you're gonna have a conversation and you can ask them whatever you want and they will help you through it. So I went in it with the intention of asking them, how am I gonna start the spiritual coaching business? Like what is this gonna look like? Because I truly don't know.
Mhm.
And I just fell asleep, and maybe it happened, but I don't remember. So like I need to train
Happened in your
myself.
dream.
Maybe, but I genuinely, and maybe on like an intuitive level, I do know what to do, but like a conscious level, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to bring that out. But so all to say, I think that like intuition is getting into a meditative state and really training your mind to calm the fuck down, calming your body down, because when your mind starts to calm down, you start to feel like palpitations or whatever, because like your body is like, no, I don't want to calm down.
Yeah.
So once you get that really like fluid calmness after practice, is when I feel like your intuition really starts to flow and kick in, and you can listen to it because it becomes loud and clear. And this is my opinion, of course, but
Mm-hmm. Even through, like, I find through tarot cards too, like your intuition could speak to you through them. And I was always very skeptical of tarot cards. I know you did a couple for me. I remember
rock bottom.
I got rock bottom, and I did go through it. So, but let's say, for example, I got a job offer and I didn't know if I should take it or not. And I was just I remember sitting in my car after they offered it to me. I said, I'll think about it. And I was like, what do I do? I don't know what to do, but I like it, but I don't know if I should go. And I was just
Yeah.
and my gut feeling was telling me, don't take it. But I knew, like, I was like, well, it's
But like responsibility kicked in, and like
that's
the
it.
societal thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
money was good, the experience was good, like
The
the benefits
perks.
exactly were amazing. So I was like, this is going to be amazing. Why would I say no to something like this? And I thought that it was just my ego kicking in saying, okay, now you're being scared, like that's why you're not going to take it, is because you're scared. So I did a tarot reading for myself, and I remember I picked up a horse that was
Yeah, I
crying in
know the
my
Five
face.
of Cups. The
The depression.
Five of Cups. Yeah.
And then I'm like, is it depression because I took the job, or is it depression because I didn't take the job and I was supposed to take it, and I'm depressed because I can't find a job? And I ended up taking the job, and it was the worst experience ever. I did learn a lot, but it was the worst experience. And I did end up feeling like I went through like a little depression period. So it kind of did tell me, hey, like, you didn't listen to your intuition. Here's what your future looks
No,
like.
but like maybe it was like a thing that you needed to go through, and you needed
True.
to experience people being dickheads to you, and like, you know
True.
what I mean? I think you learned a valuable lesson through that. So
Yeah, I did.
it's not completely lost. But so like tarot cards and like psychic readings, like you take it the way that you want.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of them because I'm just like I like people's perspective on things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like you're right, it could be, you know, you hire a lot of people interpret um, tarot cards as their higher selves, telling them what direction to take. I generally, again, I believe in these things, so I generally kind of follow them.
Yeah.
Like lately, I've been doing it, and it's like you are on a path to become a teacher and a healer, and this is the direction that you need to take. And so I'm just going with it. As
Wow.
much as like I have a lot of resistance because of fear-based notions, like we spoke about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to push through. I'm really trying to push through because like I just think it's time. So during that QHHT, that quantum healing hypnotherapy session, when my higher self came through, it was like, dude, get the fuck to like get to work, because like the collective needs help. Everyone's awakening and they don't know what they're doing, and like you are like you're there. So let's go.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have to listen as much as I'm scared, and as much as I'm scared of being judged and I'm putting myself out there, I'm just gonna do it and then
Just
hope for
do
the
it.
best. Yeah.
And even if it's, if it turns into your business or your passion, or like you have this wonderful gift that has opened for you, and a different perspective on life, and you actually know the truth of of what's beyond than just your physical body. And a lot
Hmm.
of people don't have that. A lot of people are still blind, walking around and thinking that this is the now and that's all. And it's just like I don't understand how. I guess you can't judge, because
No,
like
you definitely can. We
everyone
were
has their
there,
own path.
and we were
but
there as well. So
but I just find it crazy that you don't you feel like you're connected to everybody else. You feel like there's something inside you, and you know that it's not just your physical body. So I I just find it crazy that people wouldn't want to explore that. But that's their path, and that's the way it
it
is.
is their path,
And
and
it's
they'll get there
scary.
when they. Yeah.
It's very scary. Sometimes like I meditate and I see these, I don't know, these visions or these things flying around, and I'm like what is this? Who is this? What's going on? And then your brain kicks in and says, oh, I'm crazy. I didn't just see that. I didn't just experience that. That was
Yeah.
nothing. And then you kind of brush it off. But I've been having these things since I was a kid, so yeah.
Yeah, and like as you like work on your spirituality, it's only gonna get stronger. So get ready. But
I'm
like at the same
scared.
time, like you should. I know I would be too. I don't have like I have more intuitive hits than I do of seeing things, and the reason is because I know if I see something, I'm fucking out the door, running down the hall, screaming my head off,
Hmm.
and they know that, so they don't kind of like show themselves. For me, it's more like intuitive downloads. I'll just get like a sense of something, and I'm learning to follow it because like at the end of the day, your experience is your experience, and nobody could take that away, right? As
Right.
long as you don't think you're crazy, you're good.
Yeah, but it is like, because we're programmed to see what's in front of us, saying, okay, this desk is great, this
Yeah.
desk is real, this house is real, whatever. But I'm real. But anything else that's not comprehensible.
Yeah. At the
Is,
end of the day, we're just simulations of our higher selves. Seriously though. Like we are simulations of our higher selves on like a different dimension, being like, I'm bored. Let me simulate. And when you think of it that way, like how much like don't you just want to have fun with your life?
yeah. And I just want to be myself. Like I just want to be, and and just enjoy this time here as long as I'm
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. That's what it's meant for. Above everything else is to enjoy. We live on like a beautiful earth that we're abusing the shit out of, but that's a separate conversation. But like I don't feel like, and like the biggest thing that I took away from this experience being locked in an apartment for like 4 weeks is like we had free will to go out there and to experience, and none of us as a collective are doing that. We are locked away to 9 to 5 jobs that the majority of us hate, and I'm hoping that this experience kind of provides or sheds a light on people to like live their lives a little bit more.
Oh, definitely. Like I even just going for a walk now, I know like we're not really supposed to, but I just I have to get out and
For
just
sure.
walk a little bit. I, keep my distance and I try and I don't talk to anybody, but yeah, when I do go out and I just like the simplest thing as feeling the sun on my skin and the air, breathing the fresh
Breathing the
air and
air.
like
I
just
know. Yeah.
my legs are walking, like those little things that we wouldn't even like I wouldn't even
No.
go out. Like a lot of times I would stay home and be like, oh, I don't feel like it's too hot outside or whatever. Now
But
I'm like
yeah,
waiting to feel hot or whatever.
hot or cold, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, it's great that you feel that way because like it gives you perspective in that like, I have another day here. That's awesome. Someone in my Reiki group, and I really, really appreciated this technique. I thought it was life changing actually. He wakes up in the morning, sits up in bed, puts one foot on the ground, says thank, puts the other foot on the ground and says you. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you for another day. And
That's so
I have
powerful.
goosebumps just like talking. Yeah, it is. And imagine the shift that your life takes doing something so simple
Oh, I just
every
think
morning.
now and it's like just practicing gratitude,
Yeah.
you know.
But like you wake up in the morning and the first thing that you do is say thank you. Like
Thank you.
if you change that, if you do that, it'll change your perspective for the rest of the day.
Hmm. I
So
have so many
powerful.
people like on Facebook, on Instagram, like they're all like complaining, all these events are canceled. Oh, I can't go out. Oh, and I'm just like, like really
I know.
take this time to work on yourself, focus on your goals. I'm learning how to build a website. I'm learning like focus on things that you never had a chance to experience or do because you're just so busy with what was going on around you.
Yeah.
And look inside and see if the
That's
person
the
inside is
scariest
really
thing for people to do though.
yeah, but you realize like do I really like myself? Like can I live with myself?
Yeah.
If you're going crazy and saying like I
Yeah,
can't
but Tanya,
be
like, do you
alone.
know how terrifying that is for people?
Yeah.
Think of all the distractions that we have as a society to make sure that you don't have to do that. And the second that you have to be faced with it, it's torture for people. Torture. It's sad. And I don't judge. Everyone has their path. Everyone has their journey. And I was one of those people just a couple of years ago. So,
It's just so crazy how we're
yeah.
like what you said really resonated with me, like how you were so distracted from ourselves. Like we don't even get to know like our
No,
higher self or whatever. Like we would probably not even be having this podcast or conversation if
no.
we were, busy gallivanting outside and, like this is just crazy. Um, we don't, wow. It's kind of
Yeah.
like Mother Nature's like forcing us to stay
No,
and
but that's exactly
work on
like
ourselves.
the kind of intuitive hit that I'm getting is that the universe was like, you guys, you're going too fast. You're not stopping. Like think of our lives: work, gym, social outings, this, that, whatever, family event, da 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 da. Calendars booked. Guys, slow the fuck down and check yourself. Be grateful for where you are. And this is the universe's way of saying, get in your houses and stop.
Yeah. Like
Uh,
look inside. Look inside.
Yeah, yeah, for a change.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, people are waking up though, in all honesty. Like it's
Yeah.
really happening at a rapid rate, and I'm happy to hear that. And I want to help facilitate that because I think that the sooner we get to a place of awakeness is yeah, like we're going through a lot of shit on the physical world right now because we need to purge of antiquated thought processes and all that stuff. So with change comes chaos often. So
Mm.
it's happening.
It's
Yeah.
like something really hard has to hit for you to friggin' explode and wake up. That's for sure. And this has been like a real hard hit to the whole world. Like it's
That's it. Like
been
most people go through, yeah, most people go through their spiritual awakening when they have to face their demons and hit, when they hit rock bottom is when they start like looking into inwards and focusing on that. Like for me, like I was living in London and that was not working and I was losing a ton of money and I had to move
mm,
back to Montreal, back with my parents, and I hit
rock
rock bottom.
bottom.
And then what did I start doing? I started reading spiritual material, and from there onwards, it was game over.
when we did first meet, you talked about the chakras, and we actually connected through astrology because I'm really into astrology. I love,
Mhm.
the signs and the personality traits that go with it. And so when we met, I was like, oh, you're a Gemini. Oh my God. Like, oh,
And I was like, you're a boring Virgo.
you have multiple personalities, but I like them, sort of, some of them. But then you kind of said, oh, you're into astrology. Well, that means that you're, like, you probably would be interested in numerology.
Yeah.
And there's a couple people on my social media that are not even open in that type of way, and they're asking questions about numbers, and then I would send them links, and they're saying, well, what is the deal with numerology? So you did a presentation on it, so I know that you're really good at explaining it. So can you maybe tell us a little bit about what numerology is and how it's used?
So numerology, so every number, like numbers exist because there's a vibrational component associated to each number. And actually, like people like Nikola Tesla, he kind of agrees with this notion. So each number has a different vibration to it. Each number has a different characteristic and element to it. So like number 1 is the leader. Number 2, well, anyways, I don't know them all by heart, but like 7 is like the spiritual seeker, and so on and so forth. But each
And it goes to 9, right?
it goes to 9. So it's 1 to 9. And the way that you find out what your life path number, that's what it's called. So your life path number is who you are and what your adventure is going to be like in life, the general themes that you will face. And so the way that you do it is you calculate your birthday into the lowest number possible. So my birthday is May 29th, 1989. I'll take 5 plus 29 and then plus 1989, and I'll keep minimizing it until you have one small number. I think that's the best way of explaining it.
Yeah.
And so at which point you would Google life path 4, and then you would go and see the life path 4 is the life of structure and home and family and foundation and all of that stuff. And there's a lot of detail around that. So I definitely encourage people to look up their life path, because it gives them really interesting perspective on who they are and what they're meant to do here. Like, you might not realize it until you read it, but you're like, oh shit, that really jives well with me. Like mine is literally the spiritual mentor, seeker, teacher kind of vibe. And that's who I always felt like I am. And others who get number 1 are like, yeah, I'm a leader. I'm a fucking CEO, bitch. So like, it really depends. You know what I mean?
I was number 6. Do you remember what 6 is?
I
No.
don't.
Was it 6 or 4? I think I was 4.
I think you're a 4. Yeah.
The hard-working one.
I used to call you life path 4 Virgo, like super grounded, boring, structured. Yeah.
Organized.
Yeah.
Chaos. Yeah.
Non-chaos.
Well,
it's like,
I'm organized in my own chaos.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Okay. So we each have a life path numbers, which is kind of like our destiny of why and we're here, and what our I guess our homework is on this earth as our time, and we go through our time. But we do have every year
personal years,
a personal year. So that as well is 1 to 9. Yeah. And you calculate that, but instead of using your birth year, you use the current year.
Yeah, so I would use May 29th, 2020, which gives me 2. So just like the life path numbers are the same vibrational energy of the personal year. So in the event that you get life path 7, which is me, personal year 2, life path 2 is very slowed down, methodical. Patience is like the general theme. Okay.
Wow, so and look what we're going through right now. Woo!
Like, it's insane for me.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going through. But like, if you were life path 4, do you know what your personal year is?
My personal year right now is 8.
So this is a year that you're gonna manifest a lot of physical things, like materialistic goods. In my personal year 8, I moved into my apartment, I bought my furniture, I got a new car, like all of the money things. Like, you're spending a lot of money, but you're getting a lot of physical things, tangible things as a result. You're also probably going to be making more money by the end of this.
I hope so.
Yeah.
With
So
this
like,
whole like thing with job loss, it's really hard to find a job.
I know,
I'm
I
sure a
know.
lot of people who are listening are going through the
Yeah.
same situation. But I mean, my year last year, 7, was spirituality, and I just feel like it trickled into this year. But you see how interesting that is. It was looking inside and, kind of being
Introspective.
introspective, being with yourself. And then in your 8 year, things come to fruition. So like whatever you like whatever you imagine or whatever you wanted manifests itself
Yeah,
from your
true.
7 into your 8. And I know that right now we're stuck at home and everything, but it's manifesting itself in a way that I'm here right now speaking with
You're
you.
starting a podcast.
I started a podcast.
You're
I
building a
have my
website.
crystals here.
No, but seriously, like I think that this was the direction that you've always wanted. You wanted to build a personal brand, and
You want to help people, Steve, and you want
yeah,
to, channel your energy, but you did it with me even before knowing how to do, Reiki, and or, like you saw, the gift in me, you saw, what I was going through, and you put it into another perspective, and you helped me, you worked on me through my energy even without knowing it. And so that's how I know that this is the right path for you, and this is what you should continue doing, even though it's hard and you're like, okay, how am I going to do it, make money from it, whatever, like
yeah,
go for it, because you have that gift, and you're really good with people. And I know that you're going to be great whatever you decide to do in the spiritual world, and in whatever, like your job, like if you want it to be a full-time job,
yeah,
go for it,
yeah, yeah.
like.
No, yeah. Thank you for saying that. Like it means a lot actually because I do seek validation in that respect sometimes, and to hear that like I had an impact. I think all I want to do is have a positive impact and help people become better versions of themselves. That's all I want from my life. It's
Mhm.
what I feel like I am good at. I just got to harness those skills a little bit more. But yeah, thank you for saying that. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. And you're the only friend that I had that like I would go to you and say, I don't know, this and this is going on. Like I was going through like so many crazy things, living between 2 different places, and my love life and my, all I was going through
Rock bottom, rock
madness.
bottom.
And you're like, okay, but this is happening because of this. And through the tarot cards, you're able to help me find some answers through like, like identifying things in my chakras, and kind of like suggesting things, like suggesting Reiki. I keep saying that, yeah, you suggested Reiki, because
Yeah.
like I would have never known what the hell Reiki was. Like I would never even be open to it. I would be like, what, like, why would I waste my money on a Reiki session? And it really opened my eyes, and it's like, and it's, yeah, it's super
Yeah, because I
important.
think your initial reaction was like, wait, she's not going to touch me and I'm not going to feel
I'm
anything.
like, I'm not getting a massage.
Yeah. Like, I'm not going. What's the point? And I told you, Tanya, you might leave there and not feel a thing, but trust that the work is being done.
Hmm.
And you felt it a lot more profoundly than I thought you would.
I did. Waited in my car for an hour saying, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
And I was so thirsty. I was just so thirsty. I just
Yeah, that's interesting because one of the things that you should do right after getting a Reiki session is to drink a shit ton of water to ground yourself right away. So it's interesting that you felt thirsty.
I was really thirsty.
Yeah.
And then I did a second session, and she started seeing, like, I guess, I don't know, she gets visions. So she started
Yes,
seeing
yes.
things like why do I see so many mountains? Why is something telling me to tell you to go find your destiny is in the mountains? Do you hike? I'm like, well, sort of, but like I love Vancouver, so maybe it's telling me like I need to go.
Head there, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like you do get like intuitive hits while you're channeling other people's energy. It does happen.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised that she had that experience with you.
Cool. I'm actually very excited to see you do your second one. I would like you to do a distance a session with me if
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you're
for
open to
sure,
it.
for sure.
Because I know that we do have a special connection, and
Yep.
so I'd be interested to see what you feel, and what the
Get out of it.
aftermath, or what I get
Yeah,
out of it. Yeah. So yeah, cool.
amazing.
Is there anything else you want to add or you want to say before we part ways?
I'm super happy that you're taking this venture. I think it's going to be good for you. You've been talking about expanding your horizons in some sort of media perspective for a long time. So I'm happy that you're doing this because I think you're going to kill it. And your problem is sticking to it though. So I'm going to call you out on that. I'm going to call you out.
Oh, Kyla's gonna be editing this and be like, "Oh, he's so right." Right.
But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you're right. I gotta stick to it.
You have to.
Yeah, but I have time now, so I have no excuse,
We
right?
got nothing but time.
But to interview people. Yeah. Anything else? I don't know.
That's it.
That's
Thank you
it.
for having me. Thank you
No
for
problem.
having me.
Thank you so much for sitting down with me. I learned so much in this session, and I
Yeah.
just, want to continue to see you grow. And if for the people who are listening or watching, if anybody has any questions or wants to, delve deeper into their spiritual self, or even eventually have like a Reiki session, where do they reach you?
Yeah, the best way is probably going to be through Instagram. I'm working on a website. It's going to be coming in the next couple of weeks. I'll probably launch it through Instagram, but it's going to be called the Untangled Experience. So the goal is going to be to help people untangle themselves and become better versions of themselves. So look out for that in the next few weeks.
I love it. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you. And stay sane during this quarantine and take care. And yeah, hit me up later.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks.